Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
But I got to start off by saying thank you for House Party.
Oh.
I mean, I told people in the hallway, some of the other journalists, I said, I've got to thank you for House Party, too.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
See, I mean, that's you've got to be proud. That movie still plays on TV.
I tell you, all the time, I ran into a guy who said, "You ruined my life." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "All my life I've been looking for that party in House Party. I still haven't found it."
And thank you for this film. The story about Justice Marshall is just, incredible life story. But you picked a particular segment, a part of his life that is little known. I'm curious what drew you to that.
Well, it seemed like it was the origin story for a real-life superhero. Here he is. You've seen him on the Supreme Court. You've read about Brown versus Board of Education in grade school, but you don't know this. You never heard of this case, which means you don't know the outcome, which means we've got a good whodunit.
That's right. And as you research, though, you uncovered the layers of this amazing man, his partner, who tried the case with him. What surprised you as you researched?
Well, you realize that these things that we kind of take for granted were very much at risk. The idea that the NAACP, which has been around for 100 years, you go, well, that's an institution. That's not going anywhere. It's like, no. If you don't win the next case, we're done for. We're kaput. You're like, whoa, that was a turning point in history. The idea that this guy, we think of him as this guy who wins all his cases, but when the movie starts, he just lost a big case. So, he's a great man, but he's not a perfect man, which makes him like me.
Right on. I like that. Why not? Hey, so, there's relevance to this story. Yes, it took place several years ago, but I think there's relevance to what's happening today in current events. As a director, I just want to get your perspective on that. Kind of asking also what you hope the conversation is when people see this outstanding film.
Well, thank you. Well, one of the things I like about this story is that it takes place in the North. Because we've seen way too much of Southern racism. We've seen the tobacco chewing sheriff and all that stuff. Northern racism looks a lot more like today. People are not outwardly egregiously racist, but there's still institutional bias, which makes it so that everyone is not treated fairly. And that's fundamentally un-American. And I think that's still a battle today. We're still fighting for when a black person is arrested or shot, are they given the same benefit of the doubt, or they're treated the same way that the legal system does for their white counterpart. And liberty is not free. Freedom is not free. We have to keep fighting for these things. Yes, we fought in the 1960s. We had these great landmarks, but we have to replenish that. And it's time for our generation to stand up for something.
That's awesome. And without hesitation, I will tell you, sir, you have one of the best films of 2017.
Wow.
Absolutely love it. And I am looking forward to telling everybody about it because seriously, thank you for this. It's just an incredible story. And I really, really thank you for it.
Thank you. What's your mom say?
She loved it. Mama gave it the approval. If you've got Mama giving the thumbs up, she loved it. She looked at me. Actually, she looked at me and she said, wow. That was her reaction. She just kind of looked over at me and she goes, wow.
Tell Mama I said thank you.
Thank you, sir.